Many people mistakenly believe that to heal an emotional wound, they must erase it from memory, forget what happened, pretend it never existed. However, true healing, the kind that profoundly transforms your life, doesn't involve forgetting, but rather learning to remember in a different way. This principle, clearly reflected in the wisdom of Deepak Chopra, becomes a powerful emotional tool that can radically change how you live, feel, and perceive your reality. When we think about emotional wounds, we generally recall painful events from the past that trap us in an endless cycle of suffering. Failed relationships, emotional losses, traumatic childhood experiences, or mistakes we've made that continue to generate guilt and regret. It's normal to try to suppress these painful memories as a defense mechanism, but Chopra offers something different and deeply revealing. It's not about suppressing, but reframing. What does reframing mean? It means changing the meaning, reinterpreting the experience from a higher, more compassionate and loving place. Chopra suggests that every experience, especially painful ones, carries a seed of wisdom and transformation. When you honestly look at your past and recognize the hidden lessons behind the pain, that wound stops being a burden and becomes a powerful teacher. The first step Chopra suggests for healing your wounds is fully accepting them. This involves looking them straight in the face, acknowledging their existence without denying or minimizing them. Complete acceptance is an act of emotional courage because it forces you to confront what you would rather hide. But only from this position of absolute honesty can you begin to transform your pain. Once you accept, Chopra invites you to enter a deep phase of introspection and self-observation. In this stage, you must honestly ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? What is this wound trying to teach me that I haven't wanted to see? Often you'll discover that behind the pain are important messages about how to love yourself more, how to set healthy boundaries, how to prioritize yourself, and how to live authentically. Reframing also means changing the narrative you've built around your wounds. For example, if you've experienced a breakup that left you feeling inadequate, you can choose a new narrative that more accurately reflects your true worth. You can decide to interpret that breakup as the opportunity you needed to reconnect with yourself, to cultivate a self-love stronger and more solid than any external relationship. By changing the narrative, you also change how you feel. Deepak Chopra emphasizes that it's we who give meaning to our experiences, no one else. How you choose to interpret what happened to you determines whether you remain trapped in suffering or move towards a fuller, more conscious life. This means taking deep emotional responsibility. While you can't always choose what happens to you, you can choose how you react and the meaning you give it. One of the most powerful tools Chopra proposes to change this narrative is mindful meditation. Through meditation, you learn to observe your thoughts and emotions without judging them, creating an inner space where healing can naturally occur. Meditation allows you to connect with your deepest essence, that inner place where there are no wounds or suffering, only acceptance, love, and infinite wisdom. Regular meditation practice helps you remember your experiences from a more compassionate and emotionally detached place. Remembering differently means clearly seeing the difference between the painful event and your worth as a person. You understand that a painful experience does not define you, but is simply part of the learning journey you've come to experience. Another fundamental teaching from Chopra is understanding that emotional wounds often reflect the need to heal something much deeper within you. When a relationship fails, for example, maybe what you need to heal is not just the pain of the breakup, but the limiting belief that your worth depends on the love you receive from others. By looking deeply within, you discover the authentic root of your wounds, and only then can you radically transform them. Emotional healing, according to Chopra, is also a profound act of self-love. Healing is a commitment to yourself, saying, I'm willing to look honestly at myself, to love myself unconditionally, even in the hardest moments. When you can do this, you become your own source of emotional and spiritual well-being. Chopra insists that forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, is essential in this process. Forgiving doesn't mean justifying what happened, but freeing yourself from the emotional burden you carry. When you forgive yourself, you let go of the need to punish yourself for past mistakes or situations you've experienced. This act of compassion is deeply healing and allows you to move forward lightly towards a more harmonious and authentic future. Finally, Chopra reminds you that healing isn't a single event, but a continuous process of inner growth. Each time you reframe a wound, you strengthen your ability to face new challenges from a more mature and conscious perspective. This ongoing path of emotional evolution makes you a resilient, deep, and compassionate person towards yourself and others. In summary, true healing isn't about forgetting or erasing the past, but learning to remember differently, from a higher and more loving perspective. Chopra's teachings show you how to accept your wounds, learn from them, transform their meaning, and use each painful experience as an opportunity for emotional and spiritual growth. Because when you remember differently, there are no wounds left to carry, only lessons to appreciate, and a life full of meaning to discover. Healing, therefore, becomes the most beautiful act of self-love you can give yourself.